I do want to start out by saying that the Virginia Department of Health just issued us a statement this afternoon saying they have identified several inconsistencies or misunderstandings within Richmond's preliminary report, including information about the time that VDH staff actually arrived on site that day to respond to the crisis. VDH, even though they are the regulator of the waterworks system, says that they were not consulted for this report. Meanwhile, here's some other information that struck us about what Richmond is reporting. The engineering consultants state that there are no established training procedures or written training manuals at the water treatment plant, and they say that's critical in allowing staff to effectively respond to emergency situations, such as an extended power outage. The absence of that can lead to a lack of awareness of critical actions that need to occur. Further, employees interviewed for the report said that there are not established written standard operating procedures that would even tell them what to do during emergency or routine operations. Now, the plant apparently does have some documented basic protocols, but they're over a decade old, and operators stated they don't know where to find them. On top of all this, DPU's emergency operations manual is outdated and was not available at the plant when the crisis began. Even if it was, it lacks the facility and process-specific actions that operators would need to take in the event of a power outage. None of this is normal, according to the report, compared to other waterworks of a similar size. If these failures sound familiar, that's because a 2022 EPA inspection already cited DPU with insufficient training and planning, but DPU did not respond to that audit until just 3 days before the crisis in 2025. So I'm wondering who was responsible for not implementing that training and those standard operating procedures, and will that person be held accountable, especially since the EPA back in 2022 already warned the city that it didn't have the proper emergency planning in place and that it wasn't even conducting exercises to respond to a power outage.
Probably the most concerning part of the report to me was the lack of committed standard operating procedures and standardized emergency response, right? And I think that, while we had an electrical event that led to an equipment failure, there was clearly a component of not having practiced emergency response that led to this event. And so you're asking the question about accountability. Our focus right now is to make sure that the water plant is up and running. If we identify through the course of appropriate procedures, appropriate training, that people still are unable to do the job well, then yeah, absolutely, we will manage that effectively.
It's also notable that former DPU Director April Bingham was not contacted at this point to be a part of this investigation. Some council members that we spoke to took issue with that. They say that she needs to be engaged moving forward because she is such a critical part of finding out what really happened on that day. In Richmond, I'm Tyler Lane, CBS 6 News.